What's up, everybody? Here with Darren Green, 700 Credit Repair. We're here in Rockwall, Texas at the Billy Alt Results Ranch, right? Here at Billy's Mastermind. Mm-hmm. And I've known Darren for a couple of years, but we're just getting reacquainted and talking about Darren's background, kind of where he's from, where you were brought up. Where were you born, man?
Yes, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. In a couple weeks I'm turning 35, so it's kind of even hard to.
The home of rock and roll, Cleveland.
Home of rock and roll.
Browns. Sorry about that.
Browns, Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah. There you go.
Great history, great sport history.
Awesome, man. You so you went to high school there and college in Cleveland.
Yeah. So I had I went to Benedictine High School, it's an all boys Catholic high school, and I grew up in the inner city of Cleveland, so it was blue collar, tough. I was brought up tough, and after high school, I had a full ride baseball scholarship. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I went to Cleveland State, and then I took some time off, and then I went back when I was 26 or 27 and finished my accounting and finance.
Okay, accounting and finance, double major.
At Cleveland State, the business school, when you specialize in accounting, you will get the same credits for your finance, because at that time they were veering towards the accounting students international accounting and studies. So I got heavily involved with that, and it wasn't a double major; it was more of a minor, I guess.
Right on. So you've got this background in finance and accounting,
mm-hmm.
and what was your next move after that?
Well, I got a call. It was an interesting synopsis that brought me here. I got a call.
You about to tell a drug dealer story?
No, no, not at all. But one of my good friends had started a roofing company, and he actually started it up in Cleveland, and he went to TCU down here.
Okay. So
he said, "You need to move down here. My guys are making tons of money. It's an amazing industry." And I knew at that time I'm not going to be that guy that sits in the office the rest of his life looking at balance sheets.
I feel you.
So I packed up. He offered me the job. I packed up. I said, this is what happened. I said, "Show me Mikey's check. I want to see his check for the past week." And he said, "All right, you want me to text it to you right now?" I said, "Yeah. Show me you're not bullshitting." And it was a $13,000 check.
That'll work.
2 seconds later, he sent me the check the week before Mikey had, and it was like $22,000.
Damn.
That night, I packed up my Acura TL, and I drove from Cleveland, Ohio, to Dallas, Texas, 20 straight hours.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's what brought me here.
What brought you to Texas was the great hail that we get in Texas every year.
Uh-huh.
So you're working selling roofing and restoration claims then?
I was, yes.
Okay, and how long did you do that for?
So I did that for up until really January of this year.
Right on.
So and what got me out of the roofing business wasn't so much that business wasn't good. It was my wife. She was finished. She's in her last stage of nursing, and roofing was never a passion for me. And I didn't know what it was. I knew I was smart. I'm driven, but I had no idea. But I knew I loved helping people.
Helping people, and you like selling too? Or is it more about educating them, helping them, and then they kind of make their own decision, which is when the sale gets closed?
Both. I can relate to both ends of the spectrum as far as being told no, being told you're not going to amount to anything, to really not paying attention to that, working through it, and achieving what I thought was that top 1%. I've made 150, 160, 180 grand a year, but something was still missing.
Yeah.
So in the way I do my sales is, first I need to connect with them.
Right.
Be honest, most importantly. And the honesty part really plays a big role in my life now, because for a long time I wasn't honest. I wasn't honest with myself. I wasn't honest with my friends, my wife.
Just because you were having to fake your enthusiasm for a field or an industry that you weren't really passionate about?
Well, Yeah, and that, but also the psychological aspect on I wasn't inside. I wasn't becoming who I wanted to be,
Gotcha.
and I was in my own way. So when I decided that I was going to change something, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was on unemployment. That right there was probably the most eye-opening experience I've had, because I've worked for everything that I've ever gotten, and so it affected me pretty. There's two routes that I could have went, and I understood it really quickly. Is that I could have stayed down this path and been a victim, played a victim on myself. I deserve better. I was given this hand, and that's just the way it's going to be the rest of my life. Or, I mean, I grew up wrestling. I grew up boxing. I was a really good boxer, but I was better at baseball. So I grew up tough, and I lost it somewhere along the way. And I said, okay, dig deep, fight. You're at rock bottom. You can get yourself out of this. You have a wife. You got a family. Or you're going to become my mom, the father I'd never met. Never met my father.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, okay, I'm going to change this.
That's awesome. So a little bit of adversity shows itself, or a lot of adversity shows itself to you, and you wake up in the morning and go, cool, right on, bring it on. Let's see what you got. And then find yourself connecting with Billy and 700. How'd that end up happening?
So that story in itself is almost a miracle. I don't get too caught in religion, but I believe that there is this higher power. There's that something puts things in your way, and you need to evaluate them, whether they're going to be good or bad in your life. That's your gut instinct, right? And I've been really good about listening to my gut. And even if whatever I did failed, it's all right. Just move forward. So my wife was in sales talk for sales professionals, Ryan Stewman's group, for years. And so she had connected with a lot of people through there. And she connected with Billy. And I kid you not, I'm at the worst. I'm at rock bottom.
Pretty depressed?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Bummed out?
Yeah, I'm bummed out, because that was the point where I realized who I was becoming and who I had become. And my wife says, she came across Billy's information on Sales Talk. She was like, you should go apply. You should go work for him, because I know how many people he helps. And I said, okay. Well, 2 or 3 days later, he posts an ad on Facebook looking to hire somebody. So I figured there's going to be thousands of people reaching out to him, applying for this position. Sure. I said, I'm going to do something probably no one else is doing, and I'm going to take this serious. I drove up here.
That's awesome.
I drove up here, and I said, I'm Darren. Nice to meet you. I have my resume. He said, can you come back tomorrow at 10 a.m.? I said, I'll be here. And the craziest story, that next morning, I get hit in my truck.
Oh, man.
So my front end.
More adversity.
So my front end gets pushed in, and I can't turn right. And a buddy of mine is a mechanic, and he came up. We had to shove a jack in between my tire and my bumper to push it out.
I've had to do that before.
Yeah. And I'm like, this can't be going on right now. And I ended up making it here a half hour earlier.
By any means necessary.
Oh, I would have Ubered for sure.
Hell yeah.
And I wasn't even going to message him, hey, this is going on right now. I wasn't even going to tell him, because I knew I would have Ubered anyways if I thought I was cutting it close. So
don't tell me about the pregnancy. Show me the baby, right? Bill Parcells, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we had this great talk in his office. And, I kind of went through this same talk with him. It wasn't about what my sales capabilities are. It wasn't about what I'm going to do for him. It was more, I need to see who you are as a man. And at that moment is when I understood I was in the right place. And I knew that I was going to be really successful here, because it's the first time in my life that I don't want to say the first time in my life, but it's the first time in my life, in my career, that I met somebody that genuinely cared about what they did, and cared about who they were going to hire. It wasn't just some person you're putting in a seat.
Yeah, just like recruiting quantity, getting bodies in, which I know because I'm in the restoration business. There are a lot of companies that are structured and scaled in such a way that they expect turnover, and they're just trying to get bodies in and see who sticks. And I think when you go to work for somebody like that, you can tell pretty quickly that, hey, I'm not going to get the training or the attention until maybe I put up some numbers. And maybe that's what burned you out on that business a little bit, even though I know a buddy recruited you into it.
Yeah.
The money can be good, but it can feel transactional sometimes. And I know that the way that y'all do things at 700 is you establish that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, talk about how that's important to your success. What Billy's taught you about creating relationships with clients, or even just prospective clients before they're even clients.
You said the first word you said a couple of seconds ago, transaction, is a very important word in the business world and relationships, right? So if I'm transactional with our clients here, then we end up everyone else. And then the relationship side of it, I told my wife like how we do our sales, and I will turn people away if I don't feel they're going to be successful. And she got to hear one of our guys, Hal, in the sales room today. He was on the phone with the client. He said, listen, you had X amount of this and that, and I don't feel right now at this moment that you need to be doing this.
Wow.
And so he kept digging. He was serious. He was getting ready to say, listen, give it a couple months, get yourself back on track, paying things on time, then we'll do this. And he literally said, okay, the only way I'm doing this is if you promise me you're that. I mean, she was in tears on the phone. She says, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. If we are in a position to improve someone's life in a way that the youth have no idea.
Monumentally. You can change the trajectory of someone's financial future and economic future in a huge way by what you guys do here.
It's credit, and this needs to be taught in schools.
I agree.
I think so. I was fortunate. I went to college. I got to learn about accounting. I didn't learn about credit. I didn't learn how to build it. I didn't learn how to make it better. None of that was taught to me. As a kid, it was just you pay your bills, right? And the way I was brought up paying my bills is that my mom was making $400 a month. Right. I was on food stamps. So you paid your bills when you could.
Yeah.
That $400 that month may have went to our food. So you did what you could to get by. So there was no, I didn't understand the timeliness, and the youth now, they don't either. And I think we need to start inputting this knowledge, because credit can change your life in ways that you can't even imagine.
Don't you think that it's crazy the misconceptions people have about credit, right? They don't really know how to properly use it. They obviously abuse it, especially when you're young. You don't make decisions maybe, with a lot of forethought sometimes. But then a lot of what you learn about credit, you learn from whoever's raising you.
Yeah.
And if they don't know anything about credit, or they have a limited knowledge of how it works, and they're not an expert, you're going to be on the back foot, man. You're going to be playing from behind.
That's absolutely right. And you said something. So what you just said of how to use it. So when you meet someone with a 750, 800 credit score, because I know this is what I thought. If I see someone who has a 750, 800 credit score, I think they make a lot of money. I think they're loaded, right? So that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I've learned since being here at 700 is that doesn't mean anything. How much money you have, what the score interprets is almost in the same way that someone wakes up at 6 a.m. for their job. After work, they go to the gym. They do the things that are important, and they make sure they're good at them. So using credit to your advantage, I've seen people who make $2.5 million a year and have a 400 score.
Yeah.
I've seen many of them. I do business credit deals with them. I rebuild their business. And then I see people who make $25,000, $30,000 a year, and they have a 760 score, and they're calling me saying, Darren, how do we get to 800?
Right.
What do I need to do? Because there are levels to building credit, and utilizing certain things to your advantage it's important knowledge to know, because from a 580 to a 600 is a big difference. From that 600 to a 650 is a big difference. To 700, that's a bit 750. Once you get to 800, it's bragging rights, in my opinion. But
yeah, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah,
I mean that's for sure the Shangri-La. The ins and the outs of credit, whether it's your personal credit or the corporate credit. What is learning about that from folks like Billy and Melissa? What's that like for you? Because you really are learning from arguably, and in my opinion, the best in the business. I mean, I send my guys from my company here. I tell everyone who I know who's an entrepreneur or a real estate investor, these are the people who you need to talk to. I mean, what's it like learning from these folks?
it's it's absolutely changed my life in ways that I can see that are going to benefit, but
more than just the money you make it.
Yeah, it's not even, honestly, I was telling my wife, it's not even that the checks hit the bank account and it doesn't even register in my head. Yeah, I'm glad the bills are paid. I'm glad, we're able to, enjoy a little bit, but I'm enjoying the stuff that we're spending together because of what I'm seeing us do for people who have been told no, from every facet of life, from the lower class to middle and upper class. So we're helping people buy homes. My mom never owned a home. I wanted to be the first one in my family to purchase a home. Check.
That's awesome.
Right? And at that time, Brittany and I, my wife, it meant something so much more. And I didn't even share that with her. But I didn't really understand it till I came here. Because I deal with those people every day.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're actually, I can see the passion in your eyes. It kind of comes through, your body language, the way you communicate about this. It's more than a job to you. And that comes across to clients when your goal is not just, cashing checks and snapping necks. It's hey, man, I'm here to help improve your life. And you guys play a big role in that and making people's dreams come true.
Yeah, and I had one of the first customers I signed up called me last week, and she said, Darren, we got approved for a home. At that point, I hadn't even known that they, went through the process. I knew their scores were high enough, and I keep track of everything. I know what's going on. I'll message them, and she said, I got to send you a picture. Her and her husband, they were 502, wow. 5'11".
Yeah, it's tough.
And in 90 days, right? She said she sends me a picture of her house keys.
Wow.
So she went from a 502 in 90 days, both of them, because we don't just remove. There's a big misconception about like credit repair. You just delete a bunch of stuff and you get stuff off your report, and your credit scores go up. No, we do both ends. Now, we teach you how to take that credit card and use it to your advantage. If you don't have a credit card, we help you get one. We help establish it. And then we teach you how to use it to where it's going to give you points. We teach you the credit mix. So if you want to build credit, a lot of people will say, I just need credit cards. I need an installment loan.
They don't know.
No idea. And what
not an expert.
What happens is you overextend yourself. And then you get in a worse position. So stay in your lane. I've seen this. I've had these conversations with our realtors and our mortgage brokers that we're partners with. Stay in your lane, because when they're ready to go to do the mortgage, I'm not talking to them about what they need to be doing for their mortgage.
I'm sending them to you.
Yeah.
And don't you think, too, if you're running a business, or even if the business you're running is just your household, if you need legal advice, you don't Google it. You call your attorney. If you need health advice, you might Google it, but you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And if you need tax advice, you go to your accountant or your CPA. Same, any other thing you need help from an expert on. But for some reason, we all get, or the public seems like they get roped into, hey, let's get on NerdWallet and let's figure out how to fix this ourselves. DIY credit repair.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how that can actually do more harm than good, because I know this is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. So I'd say, let's say out of the 20 deals I did this week, I'd say 15 of them, they Googled something or they were told something from someone or the internet to do this.
Frickin' internet.
Or they listened to Credit Karma. We can go down the rabbit hole on that one, but we won't. But so they said I should add this, and this, and I should start disputing myself. So there's a huge business side of you going on Credit Karma and clicking dispute on Credit Karma. They don't understand the ramifications from you clicking that button, because that alone actually hurts your account unless it gets removed. You won't be able, you can't verify it for 2 years. So that one account, you just made it 2 years older.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the fine print of that on the website is impossible to find, that's even going to happen.
And if you found it, you couldn't read it.
Yeah, you wouldn't even probably know what it meant.
No. So it's but it's nice, because one of the main reasons I think I've found myself here is because there were people in my life that I knew were important, and I'm still close to them to this day. They were always teaching me something. They were always teaching me that you never become mediocre. Don't live a mediocre life, and don't relate that to money. Relate that to the knowledge you're building along the way, because people like you are the people who are going to change someone's life. Coming from where I came from, now I'm in a position to truly give back to people and teach them, not things they're learning in school, which I think they should be, but teaching them money management. There's so much more that we do here. Money management. On the credit side, it's how do you continue this? You're going to learn what accounts you need to keep active, what happens when an account's closing, what you need to do to offset that point drop when that's closing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are more than just a credit repair shop. It's a consulting firm, really. If you are getting ready to make a big purchase, why wouldn't you call your credit expert and say, hey, I want to do this. I want to do it in about 2 months. Walk me through some of the, misconceptions. Walk me through, help me not make mistakes. And then I'm sure that you guys, because I know you do it, because I've heard you guys doing it, and I've seen the testimonials, you're going to walk them through, hey, okay, so let's do this, let's do that, let's put a plan in place, let's be intentional about it, and let's make some good decisions that are going to set you up. And that's what does set you apart from just these low-cost provider guys. I know y'all's pricing is super competitive, out of control competitive.
Yeah.
The value that you offer for the prices you charge it almost doesn't compute.
Yeah, and so I'm a data guy as far as attrition, right? So one of the first things that I started speaking with Hal about, he's top salesman here. Well, not last month. So
who was that last month?
that was me. It was my
Check
third
it.
month. So
That's awesome. Congrats.
yeah, but he's a big reason for my success. So that wasn't a diss to Hal. So
I met Hal earlier. Hal's good people.
he's smart, and he's been in sales a long time. And it was nice. He's the first sales guy I've ever heard that was doing what I wanted to do like really tugging on someone's heart, and because then you know whether or not they're going to be successful. So that attrition rate, I said, how many people quit our programs? How many people stop paying? What's the average industry? What's the average in the industry? And he was like, well, the average in the industry, it's kind of hard to relate to us because we do it in 6 months and it's a contract with us. Everyone else, it's no contract. It's a month to month thing, but the attrition rate on that end is 20%. So that eventually they just give up, or they just stop paying.
Sure.
And I said, Hal, what's your personal rate on you getting kickbacks and people quitting the program and just stop paying? He said, well, this year I've done 270 something deals, and I've had 9 people who stopped paying, who I got kicked back on. So that's less than 1%. I said, what's our company average? Less than 1%. That says something.
100%.
Says something
Absolutely.
about what we're doing here. It's bigger than the sales. Get as many people in the door as you can.
It's bigger than the exchange from the client to you of money for services rendered. Talk about how you, growing up, tough neighborhood, inner city, adversity, fighting through, getting your degree, moving here, changing careers, fighting through all that adversity. How does that help you when you're on the phone with single mom? She's got a couple of kids. She's living in an apartment. She really wants a house. And she's like, man, I don't know if you can go on. How does your experience fighting through adversity and changing your mindset around adversity so you see adversity as an opportunity, how has that helped you help people?
It's helped me more now because now I'm able to be honest, truly honest with me. So now that I had that established, I think the most important thing, and I think people forget how important this really is that asking somebody, I can see their credit. So I know either they're just blowing their money or they're overextending themselves and they can't afford it. So people miss this opportunity to connect with a potential client and asking them, what can you afford? How much can you afford a month?
Have you thought this through?
Exactly. So, because that's really the first step. So if they can come back and answer, I know I can afford X, right? And then you can go into all of the other things and start building the value on how the higher credit's going to change their lives, how owning a home, you want this home. Then you can touch them in that way so that they can understand that maybe this week I'm not going to go to the bar with my friends and spend $60. Maybe I'm, instead of that $60 I would spend, I would put that I'd put it on back more often, put it on the mattress. We're Italian back home, so
under the mattress.
Put in the mattress, but they're gonna. And everyone's, you're being responsible. No, it's now you're starting to think a little bit different.
Living intentionally.
Truth.
Not just letting it happen to you. Listen, man, it's been awesome visiting with you. If a client wants to reach out to you directly, how can they hit you on email?
Yeah, so if you can email me at Darren, Darren, at 700creditrepair.com.
Awesome. And if they want to follow you on Instagram, how should they find you there?
So I have 2 accounts. So
whoa, baller. Check it out.
One is my outdoors. It's Slappin' the Bass Man.
Awesome.
And then my personal account is Yeechi, Yeechi 3.
Awesome, man. I appreciate your time.
It was a blessing, man. Thank you.
You bet.